The logic is sound. If a movie can draw in the audiences, why can't it do the same for wrestling? Makes sense, right? There's an obvious appeal there, something that's captivated a crowd. And hell, we've done everything else in the world of sports entertainment, so why not see if someone can't be Harry Potter or something? This isn't just an idea I've concocted up in my own brain though, something that happens in wrestling all the time. You're searching for an idea, and because that's really hard, you just steal it from somewhere else instead. I'm Simon from WhatCulture. This is 10 wrestling gimmicks blatantly stolen from Hollywood. Number 10. Tyler Breeze. Doesn't take a genius to work this one out. Tyler Breeze may not have the intelligence of a sock, but other than that, his model gimmick is very reminiscent of one Derek Zoolander. Listen to the way he speaks, or look at that pout he puts on. If you're trying to tell me that wasn't inspired by Ben Stiller's character, well, you're just wrong. Because it most definitely is. Not that it's a bad thing. Sure, Breeze hasn't had the same success on the main roster as he did in NXT, but the gimmick is much loved by fans, and so far, has stood the test of time. Can't really say the same for Zoolander. Just go watch the sequel. Number 9. Razor Ramon. This one is so apparent I genuinely don't know how WWE didn't get sued. They may as well have just rung up and got Al Pacino in to play Razor Ramon. The ties to his character Tony Montana are so similar. That's no huge secret either. Not only did Scott Hall literally just steal parts from the actual script to mash them together, that's where Say Hello to the Bad Guy comes from, but the pre-debut vignettes were also him cruising around Miami. Scarface had practically thrown up on him. In one of those only in wrestling moments too, Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson had no idea who or what Scarface was when Hall pitched the idea, so they assumed it'd just been invented in Scott's head. They probably need to get out more. Number 8. Kane. I love 1997 Kane. Genuinely one of my favourite debuts ever. The character was just horrifying in the best possible way, and a large part of that was probably influenced by none other than Halloween's Michael Myers. For starters, there's the mask, which does have some resemblance. And then there's the fact the two share the same approach to life. Namely, you move slowly, you use supernatural powers, and you've been screwed up through horrendous childhoods. In case you need further proof, WWE Magazine even ran an article comparing the two. So that's not subtle at all. Credit to Glenn Jacobs, the man behind the mask though. He made the character his own and evolved it continuously. That's why he's had the longevity he's had. Number 7. The Dudleys. It's hard to imagine now, but the origins of the Dudleys do in fact lie in 1977 Paul Newman comedy Slapshot. But after Raven and Dean Malenko saw the movie in the mid-90s, they passed it along, which did indeed spark the idea for a large family who all look identical, right down to their thick black glasses. The Hansons, the clan from the movie, even enjoyed being aggressively stupid. So there it all is, tied up in a nice little bow. Number 6. The Legion of Doom. How cool were the Legion of Doom? Those shoulder pads, man. I mean, you take a step back, they're ridiculous. Why are two grown men wearing fake spikes? But it just worked. It's no big surprise that the team were inspired by the film Mad Max, especially when you remember their original name was the Road Warriors, which is the subtitle for the second Mad Max movie, which means they didn't even try to hide it. But that's also where the crazy ring attire and face paint came from too. It was all directly lifted from the movies. Smartly though, Animal and Hawk ripped off the villain, which no one ever remembers. They'd gone after Mel Gibson. Well, that could have gone a little differently. Number 5. Glacier. 8 months after the Mortal Kombat movie came out, WCW debuted Glacier. And while they called him Glacier, he was basically Sub-Zero. I mean, his name was Glacier. Who are you fooling, WCW? The guy even had the same backstory in the sense he was a martial arts master and wore a blue outfit. The best bit was that Eric Bischoff plowed thousands of dollars into the entrance alone to try and get the gimmick over, but no one cares. They even used snow. It was a shame, really. Glacier was actually alright in the ring, but being saddled with this idea just ate him alive. Should have copied Scorpion instead. Or Goro. He had loads of arms. Number 4. Mankind. Whatever Mankind was meant to be when it was first on the drawing table is not what Mankind was after Mick Foley was done with him. Shaped into a Hannibal Lecter-esque character by the hardcore legend, it's really what helped establish him as someone to watch. Aside from the fact they're both mentally ill, they have violent outbursts, enjoy classical music, and have similar brown masks. Rumour has it Foley even has an original Mankind mask that had bars across the mouth just like Lecter, but it never made it further than a proof of concept. That was probably a good move, because in that case, you're just asking for trouble. Also, while we're here, how the hell did WWE ever get away with calling a character Mankind? So weird. Number 3. Alexa Bliss. Being topical is important. And that's why it wasn't the biggest shock in the world when the Lecter Bliss turned up at Backlash this year with cheerleader pom-poms, pigtails, coloured hair, and crazy makeup. Suicide Squad had been released, and it was time to jump into the Harley Quinn box of tricks. With that said, it worked really well, and Bliss did a great job in pulling it off instead of just seeming like she was cosplaying. She can do that at the weekend. When you're at work, you work. Number 2, Sting. Sting loves ripping people off. That's his thing. But huge credit to the man. He knows how to do it well and do it so wrestling audiences lap it up. That's no easy thing to achieve. In 1996, however, Sting did ditch the surfer gimmick after Scott Hall suggested he watch the movie The Crow and take inspiration from that. He certainly did that too, painting his face in exactly the same way and growing out his hair. Fast forward to 2011, Sting was at it again in TNA. Coming up with the insane icon gimmick, he began to act like Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight. Whether you liked that last one is a debate that will never end. But fair play to Steve Borden for understanding how to translate these for a wrestling fan base. Number 1, Jason the Terrible, Leatherface, and Freddy Krueger. Sometimes you wake up and just think, f*** it. Especially, apparently, if you live in Japan. Or just don't understand copyright law. Loads of people have wrestled in Japan as famous movie horror villains though, without any sense of irony either. We've had Leatherface and Freddy Krueger, who also had a match once, and back on US soil there was Carl Moffat, a man who literally just dressed up as Jason. It was everything too. White overalls, hockey mask. He may have called himself Jason the Terrible, but come on. That one is just obvious. Know of any other gimmicks inspired by movies? Let us know in the comments below, and then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can then come tell me on Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and I'll chat to you again soon.